Mr. Speaker, what we have today is like a failed security. What we have today, in my opinion and in my views, Mr. Speaker, is like for me to quote in the words of the popular Bob Marley in his own song in those days in the 80s, when he was saying, war in the north, war in the west, war in the east, and war down south. Mr. Speaker, today, Nigeria is operating under a complete war against humanity.
Ẹ̀yin èèyàn, ẹ wò ọ̀rọ̀ ti dójú ẹ̀ tán báyìí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ti dójú ẹ̀. Àwọn gómìnà ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mẹ́fẹ̀ẹ̀fà láti ìlú Èkó, ìlú Oǹdó, Èkìtì, Ògùn, Ọ̀yọ́ àti Ọ̀ṣun, gbogbo wọn ti kóra papọ̀ báyìí lórí gbogbo wàhálà àti awuyewuye tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ẹ wò wọ́n sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan àtàwọn ìgbésẹ̀ tí wọ́n fẹ́ gbé lẹ́nu lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí lórí kí ààbò lè wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ẹ wá lọ gbóhùn tí wọ́n sọ o. Bákan náà, àwọn aṣojú ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin kan nílẹ̀ Kano, òun lẹ kọ́kọ́ rí fídíò ẹ̀ yẹn, òun náà ti sọ̀rọ̀, ó sọ̀rọ̀ fátáfátá wípé ńkọ́ o tí àwọn ò bá lè dáàbò bò aráàlú mọ́ kí wọ́n ti ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin pa, pé àbí kí láǹfààní àwọn táwọn ò bá lè dáàbò bo àwọn aráàlú tó dìbò yan àwọn sí orí ipò. Ẹ má jẹ́ ń dá yín lágara, ẹ wá lọ gbọ́ ohun tí wọ́n sọ.
Issued at the end of the South-West Governors Forum meeting held today, Monday, 24th November 2025, here at the Governor's Office Secretariat in Ibadan, Oyo State. The South-West Governors Forum, comprising the governors of Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Oyo States, held its meetings on Monday, 24th November 2025 at the Governor's Office Secretariat by the Oyo State. After extensive deliberations on various issues, including agricultural, economic and regional development, security challenges that are also affecting the Southwest region, the forum resolved as follows. The forum commends Mr. President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, on the very laudable effort and fight against insecurity and various economic reforms on all its developmental agenda. The forum appreciates Mr. President. The forum further expresses solidarity with the federal government in its efforts and the issues that have happened in Kebbi, Kwara, and Niger states after the very recent spate of kidnapping at the government's Girls' Comprehensive School in Maga Town, the Catholic institution of St. Mary's in Papiri, Agwara local government, Niger State, and also at the CAC Church at Eruku, Kwara State. The forum applauds the swift response of the federal government towards the rescue of the Kwara adoptees and more than 51 students of the Catholic School, Niger State. The forum thereafter reviewed the current state of security within our region and took some decisions to ensure that the security of life and property of our people. 1. The forum agreed to set up a Southwest Security Fund, which will be set up under the Dawn Commission, and this fund will be administered by a forum of special advisors on security of all the Southwest states, and they have been mandated to ensure that they keep on a monthly meeting amongst the 6 special advisors. 2. The forum also set up a joint security intelligence sharing and communication platform. The forum resolved to establish a live digital intelligence sharing platform amongst all the 6 Southwest states. This platform will exchange threat notification, will ensure that incidents are logged, traveler and cargo alerts, and coordinate state-to-state response, among others. 3. Forest surveillance. The forum commends the effort of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The forum commends the effort of our hunters, Amoteku members, and all other security agencies. Thereafter, the forum calls on the federal government to note the urgent need for enhanced forest surveillance across the Southwest states, and join and call on the federal government to secure the vast forest belts that have become hideouts for all sorts of criminal elements. To this end, the forum agrees that the federal government should help deploy the forest guards across the Southwest states, with each state government responsible for providing the required personnel. The forum reaffirms their collective commitments to reclaiming the forests and ensuring that these spaces no longer serve as safe corridors for banditry, for kidnapping, or any form of criminality at all. On interstate migration, the forum expresses deep concern on the unregulated interstate migration that continues to pose significant challenges across the Southwest. The forum calls for stricter border monitoring, calls for data collection and self-identification of each Southwest states, and the forum wants to work with the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, for proper identification. The forum agrees to intensify security collaboration to ensure that the interstate migration does not become a conduit for insecurity. Illegal mining activity. The forum expresses deep concern over the escalating illegal mining activities across the Southwest states. We see that it continues to threaten environmental safety, it continues to create public health issues, and of course, our regional security. The forum therefore calls for a comprehensive and enforceable licensing framework, which we believe will strengthen monitoring mechanism, and it will create a stricter enforcement action against violators who may perpetrate violent crimes under the guise of mining. On state police, the forum reaffirms its support for the establishment of state police by emphasizing that the time is now, and we pray that it should not be delayed any longer.
Or someone listening to me on the audio to mistake me for an opposition. I am not an opposition. I am a member of the APC, ruling APC in Nigeria. I am also a member, by extension, of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A member of this great parliament also, which has the APC as a dominant factor. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I have to say so because I will be speaking here today as a member of the APC, not of particular concern, but with a particular concern. An APC member speaking with a particular concern, Mr. Speaker. And the concern today, as I understand, is about the security of lives and property of the Nigerian people. Mr. Speaker, I have heard briefs and submissions by the relevant committee chairman here about the situation of Nigeria's security architecture. Good, Mr. Speaker. I am not out to say no to their submissions. Of course, that is what they have to report to this House. But when you are speaking, Mr. Speaker, from the point of view of Nigerian people, one must be prepared to call a spade a spade. Mr. Speaker, I am therefore prepared to say that no matter what the government does, my government, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC government, my party, and despite all the submissions of the efforts of all security agencies that were meant here through their respective chairmen, I want to say that yes, the government is doing its best. The security agencies are doing their best. But I want to say with every sense of responsibility and without any fear of equivocation that their best is not good enough. It is not good enough because the security situation in Nigeria today, Mr. Speaker, it is horrific. Mr. Speaker, our security situation is tragic. Mr. Speaker, the security situation, especially in the north where I come from, is devastating. Mr. Speaker, our situation in Nigeria today in the area of security is unspeakable. It's unspeakable because our people are left ravaged in serious tension, fear, and desperation, all because we are lacking and reneging in our institutional and collective responsibility as a government. Mr. Speaker, the fact remains the same, and like every one of you here would say, that the responsibility of every democratic or elected government, even military governments, Mr. Speaker, fundamental responsibility of government is the security of lives and property of its own people. Mr. Speaker, what we have today is like a failed security. What we have today, in my opinion and in my views, Mr. Speaker, is like for me to quote in the words of the popular Bob Marley in his own song in those days in the 80s, when he was saying, war in the north, war in the west, war in the east, and war down south. Mr. Speaker, today, Nigeria is operating under a complete war against humanity. And this House must not only continue to chant slogans, move motions, take contributions from members. We must have to step up and rise up to the expectation of our own people. And that expectation must be beyond making pronouncement on the floor. Mr. Speaker, we have to step our institutional mandate. We have to step our institutional commitment and determination to protect the lives of the vulnerable people. Mr. Speaker, you rightly said in your remarks that you were in Gbe State. As God may have it, Mr. Speaker, I went to Gbe with you. I saw how the governor of Gbe, who is the chief security officer of the state, speaking to the delegation of this honorable house in nostalgia, Mr. Speaker, with a very heavy heart. At a point, I would not miss to say, I will not be mistaken to say that I saw the governor weeping in the heart. This will be the same situation everywhere you go in the south or in the north or in the east or down in the west. Mr. Speaker, our governors are not only overwhelmed, it's like they cannot even do it. The responsibility of security, Mr. Speaker, of course, by the constitutional provisions, it is a sole responsibility, more of a sole responsibility to the center. I agree with whoever may say, of course, governors in the subnationals are also accountable and they must be held responsible for the security of lives and properties of their people. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that in virtually all of our constituencies, given the opportunity, everyone here can rise to tell you the account of what is happening. Mr. Speaker, it is not religious. Mr. Speaker, it is not even political. This fight and this menace of insecurity in Nigeria is something that does not have any identification of one's party or one's religion or one's tribe whatsoever. It is a calculated attempt to demoralize Nigerian state. And if care is not taken, Mr. Speaker, even for those of us who take politics more seriously, we'll have a very big question to answer at the end, because it is like this unnecessary insecurity going on. This is a high level of conspiracy targeting our political processes. As we are approaching 2027, Mr. Speaker, we will all be expected to have a peaceful conduct of our polls. How do you have that if our communities, local communities, are plunged into crisis, into banditry, into kidnappings in the churches, in the mosque, even down in the oil-producing area, which is our economic live wire. Production of oil, crude oil, is being unfortunately undermined by militia groups. So it is like a collective thing that we must put our hands on deck and call whoever is responsible, sir, to order. Order, order, and order. And this House must not take for granted that we are not part of the government. If the government is wanting, this institution of the legislature is a component of the government itself. We have to look inward to ourselves and see what more of oversight functions, like some members have said, are we going to make? Are we going to provide? Mr. Speaker, we can even declare legislative emergency. Close the House, shut it up. Who are you legislating for? What laws are you making when the country is running in blood? The country is running in blood and tears. You cannot go, the farmers cannot go to farm. Our traders cannot go to market. Worshippers cannot go to mosque, cannot go to churches. Then what are you legislating here? Mr. Speaker, if the government is not prepared to actually do the right thing that will protect the lives and property of our people, I urge on you, I urge on this honorable House, as a House of the people of Nigeria, to stand up to pay the supreme cost. And that is no more than to shut this House down and to call emergency on any legislative issue and wait until the right thing is taken by the government of the day. Mr. Speaker, I also want to believe we are equally responsible. We should also go down to our constituencies and lead civil organizations, like the civil vigilante. Let's go and reorganize our vigilante groups. We take commands and take charges of such civil organizations to see how we can salvage and protect our country, Nigeria. What is happening today, Mr. Speaker, is not just to call for mere security or an average performance of security agencies. What we expect of Nigerian government, no more, no less, my Speaker, is to have absolute security. It's for us to have absolute safety. Mr. Speaker, Nigeria must have absolute protection of the lives and property of our own people. This is my take, Mr. Speaker. And I also want to use the opportunity to tell you that my immediate constituency, which is enclave at the southern part of my state, Kano, is also undergoing serious danger, because in the constituency, we have what we call the huge Falgore Game Reserve, lying in between Kaduna State, Plateau State, Bauchi State, through Ningi and Bura, Mr. Speaker, and also contacting some part of Jigawa State to the axis of Turkey. This place used to be a tourist attraction. Many people come in, including tourists from abroad. But because of the dilapidating security situation in my state, Mr. Speaker, today, abduction and kidnappings, not only in the forest, in our homes, has become a daily affair, a daily occurrence. Just like what the pharmacist may prescribe to you in the hospital to ask you to take Panadol once in the day, in the morning, one in the afternoon, and another one in the evening. That is how kidnapping is so prevalent in my federal constituency. This place that used to be an attraction for tourists, it has now become like an extension of the Sambisa forest in Borno State. So we have to definitely do something. Mr. Speaker, I may not have enough time to continue my submissions, but I want to thank you so much for giving our members this opportunity to speak. And I also want to urge members to continue in the spirit we have started. I have not seen anybody here speaking as a southern member of the House of Reps. I have not seen anyone here speaking as a northern member of the House of Reps. I am the leader of the Northern Caucus, Northern Regional Caucus. I am also not speaking as a member representing the northern part of this country. The security challenges that we are facing is a colossal one, it's a collective one that has to do with the Nigerian nation. And we must step up to that expectation and deal with this matter once and for all. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you, and I want to thank honorable members for listening to me. And I also want to further tell you that I have not lost my hope in the renewed hope agenda. I'm still a proud member of the APC.
No, we can see it from your cap. We know you are.
My dear colleagues, we're here this morning to discuss a very, very important issue that has bedeviled us as a nation. Perhaps let me start by reminding us why we are all seated here as members of the National Assembly. In so doing, I would quickly take us back to the quotation from Thomas Hobbes many decades ago, I think sometime in 1651, when he said that man, the life of man is solitary, it's poor, brutish, nasty, and short.
Order, please.
We can ask ourselves a clear question. Does this not appear to be the life of a Nigerian today? Replete with fear, uncertainty. We can no longer travel by road in our own country. In fact, when your relative or anybody that is close to you attempts to do that, you will be in prayers until such a person arrives. It is because of this situation that men agreed to give up their sovereignty and set up a government. It is that sovereignty that Nigerians have given up that has brought only 360 men together to sit here and ensure that we protect the lives and property of all Nigerians. Let me quickly refer us to our constitutional provision, section 14, subsection 2B, which provides the essence, the purport, and the purpose of government. That is protection of lives and property of citizens. In so doing, as a Christian, I will further refer you to a Bible quotation. I'll take you to Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, which tells us that we are the salt of the earth. But the Bible says that if a salt loses its saltness, of what use is it? It is good to be trampled upon. It becomes useless and no longer salt. I use this to analyze, considering our major function. And by the way, remember, my dear colleagues, that government, elementary government is made up of three arms: the executive, the legislature, where we fall in, and the judiciary. So when we talk about government, we are fully involved as members of the executive arm. And so when we point one finger, 4 points at us. First, if we cannot protect the lives and property of Nigerians as enshrined in our Constitution, are we worthy to continue to sit as a parliament? I'm not saying that all hopes are lost. No. There is room for remedy. But we must see this as a national tax and be selfless about it. This is no time for religion. This is no time for political party. This is the time for us to talk about our own lives and existence. We are given opportunity out of a country of over 200 million, as we have in the figures, which might not also be correct because of lack of data, adequate data in our country. And we are among 360 that is saddled with the responsibility. How well have you performed that responsibility? That's the question that we are called upon to ask ourselves this morning. Insecurity is ravaging the entire country. Yes, the world is becoming a global village. And so if we are unable to secure our country, other countries will be concerned because they will be affected. If Nigeria is classed as a country of particular concern, as a parliament, I think what we are gathered here this morning is to seek for solution to remove Nigeria from that classification. And I pray that the Almighty will give us the wisdom to achieve that. Now, looking at the causes of insecurity in our country, first I will caution us that we must eschew completely the disunity that appears to be breeding, whether there is genocide, religious genocide, or not. We begin to look at it from the angle of Christians and Muslims. To whose advantage? When we are not united, to whose benefit? Is it in our own interest? We cannot fight this battle without unity. We cannot also succeed in this battle if we deny obvious facts. Let me start by asking, are there religious killings in Nigeria? The answer is yes. But is that the major cause of insecurity in our country? The answer is also no. Whilst there are religious killings, it will amount to painting the insecurity issue with a single brush to say that that is the only reason why we have insecurity. Today in our country, you have the economic aspect of insecurity, where people, for economic reasons, will attack communities, kill, maim, displace entire community in order to access the wealth that is within that place. And that's why you can see displaced areas. People live in IDP. Economic operation is going on there. As a government, do we say that we are not aware? And what are we doing? What about the political aspect? Incidentally, we find ourselves in that field. We are all politicians. Because we want to assume political power. We want to do everything to displace the opponent. You make the entire government ungovernable. Bring in people from outside the shores of this country because our borders are porous. We only have boundaries on the map. On ground, Nigeria lacks clear boundaries. They are not protected, they are open. We bring them in to strengthen us politically, and managing them thereafter became a problem. There is the political angle to it, and we must tell ourselves the truth, so that if we are managing the problems, we know how to manage them. And like I have said, you also have the religious angle. There are religious bodies, the ISIS or ISWAP and all that. They are not sent by Nigerians, but they have their targets, they have their own vision. Perhaps their belief. All you need to do is to not to remove the doctrination that they have already. Because they could believe in that yes, anybody that is not a Muslim must be killed. If that is their belief, and they are convinced, we need to do a reorientation to change that belief. My dear colleagues, the tax is Herculean, very heavy, because we cannot pretend that we do not have insecurity problems in this country. And the solution ought to come from us, all of us seated here, not from Nigerians outside here. But we must own up to the truth. How well are we doing? How well are we tackling this problem? When I hear people praise government, government is doing well. Are we sincere? Government is still sleeping. Nothing fundamental has been done. Nothing. We cannot continue with the fire brigade approach. Must we wait until our children are kidnapped before we take steps? And when 20 are kidnapped, we recover 2. We beat our chest that we are achieving. What about the 18? Dear colleagues, we recall, there is no week that this chamber has not discussed the issue of insecurity. Not 1 week without a motion on insecurity. And at the end of the day, all we do is observe 1 minute silence. I think that the time has come for us to unite, if not as a country, as parliamentarians. Remove the toga of religion, remove the toga of political parties, and wear the toga of Nigeria. Whoever is affected should not be our concern, but we must salvage our country. We must salvage ourselves. We must begin to go home freely. We must find solutions to ensure that Nigerians sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Firstly, let me suggest that the time has come for us to start looking at having a national border force. We should. When we hear countries talk about fencing their borders, sometimes we laugh over it. It sounds funny. But it is not. We do not have a border force in Nigeria. And I think it is our role as parliamentarians to quickly, as a solution, come up with a bill and ensure that that bill passes with the speed of light to begin to protect our borders. Not just by physical protection. Like I said, the world is a global village today. There are technologies that will help us. A border force that is based on technology.
Honorable David, please can you find your seat? Honorable David, Kalambaina. Honorable Badao, please can you find your seats? Honorable Gadi, please find your seat. Honorable Gadi, please.
We also have before us the constitution amendment that is going on. Security is prominent. My dear colleagues, we don't have an option than to go back to community policing or state policing. We must begin to secure our country from every community. From every community. And as a parliament, we must also begin to rise to our oversight functions. We must begin to stand our grounds. In the interest of our people.
Honorable Sada, Honorable Zainab Gimba, please can you approach the chair?
And our own interests. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, a lot more on the issue of insecurity, which we cannot perhaps say facing the camera. So let us invite all the security chiefs, all, and have a closed-door meeting with them, where we can clearly talk to them, tell them the feelings of Nigerian people, ask for facts and figures, take decisions that will have strong legislative backing. You will recall that in the past, we have had to give timelines. But I will say, as a member of parliament, that my heart is heavy and bleeds for Nigeria. I'm not happy. I see it as divine that we are all called to serve at this time. Because I ask why? Why at this time? But we are called to serve at this time, and we should take the challenge. We have the ability. We have the ability to solve this problem. We have the ability to make the difference, but we must remove tribe, religion, selfishness, pride, and anything that will prevent us from succeeding.
Honorable Wase.
And see ourselves as one.
Honorable Wase.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you, my dear colleagues, for this opportunity. And I pray that the Almighty God will give us the wisdom to ensure that we contribute towards stabilizing this country and indeed the world at large. Thank you.